The United States of America emerged from a blaze of revolution in the 18th century. Within 200 years, it became a global powerhouse, thriving after two devastating world wars. Yet, the history of the region extends far deeper. Long before the formation of the United States, the continent bore witness to diverse and fascinating evolutionary milestones. The documented voyages and eventual death of Christopher Columbus marked the beginning of Spanish and Portuguese explorations that uncovered South America. These expeditions, fueled by the allure of a new world, set the stage for a land destined to become a melting pot of immigrants filled with unwavering optimism and determination. Before European settlements, the continent was home to various native communities. The earliest inhabitants are believed to have crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Russia to Alaska during the Ice Age. As temperatures rose and sea levels increased, the land bridge disappeared, leaving behind a diverse mosaic of societies, languages, and cultures. These Native American groups were deeply influenced by their environment, as seen in the advanced urban settlements of the Mississippian culture, the multi-story stone villages of the Pueblos in the southwest, and the democratic government of the Iroquois Confederacy in the northeast. The first noteworthy explorer, Leif Erikson, a Norse seafarer, accidentally discovered Newfoundland in the 11th century, though his settlement did not endure. Centuries later, the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire motivated European powers to seek alternative trade routes to Asia. Christopher Columbus, sponsored by Isabella of Castile, embarked on a series of voyages starting in 1492, reaching the Bahamas and initiating European colonization. However, his expeditions also brought diseases that devastated native populations, wiping out an estimated 90%. The Spanish led early colonization efforts, targeting the Caribbean, Florida, and South America. The French focused on fur trading and missionary work, while the Dutch established a trading hub along the Hudson River, later seized by the English and renamed New York. English settlers founded Jamestown in 1607, with tobacco farming driving the demand for indentured servants and enslaved Africans. The fur trade and competition for resources intensified conflicts among Native American tribes and European settlers. The Iroquois Confederacy, aligned with the Dutch and later the English, waged wars for hunting grounds, while the French allied with other tribes. These tensions culminated in the Beaver Wars, ending in the Great Peace of 1701. By the mid-17th century, the transatlantic slave trade further transformed the Americas, providing labor for expanding plantations. As European powers vied for dominance, the French and Indian War broke out in 1754, resulting in British victory and significant territorial gains. However, Britain's subsequent taxation policies to recover war debts, including the Sugar Act and Stamp Act, provoked widespread colonial dissent. The Boston Massacre in 1770 and the Boston Tea Party in 1773 exemplified rising tensions, leading to the arming of militias and the First Continental Congress in 1774. Thus began the American struggle for independence, setting the stage for a revolutionary new nation. The British Parliament stripped the American colonies of self-government, prompting a rebellious response. Tensions escalated with additional British regulations and increased military presence. Massachusetts was declared in a state of rebellion, and British Commander Lieutenant General Thomas Gage was ordered to disarm the rebels and arrest their leaders. On April 18, 1775, Paul Revere famously rode ahead of British forces to warn American leaders of their approach. American militias confronted British troops at Lexington, retreated to Concord, and with reinforcements, overwhelmed the British, forcing their retreat to Boston, which soon came under siege. The Second Continental Congress reorganized the militias into the Continental Army, appointing George Washington as its leader. Despite initial British victories, such as at the Battle of Bunker Hill, they suffered significant losses. By March 1776, General Washington used newly arrived artillery to force British evacuation from Boston. Meanwhile, Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence, approved on July 4, 1776. A year later, the Articles of Confederation were adopted as the nation's first constitution. The Revolutionary War unfolded with French and Spanish support aiding the American cause. The turning point came at the American victory at Saratoga, leading to French and Spanish entry into the war. With French assistance, Washington's forces secured victory at Yorktown, forcing British surrender. The Treaty of Paris, 1783, recognized U.S. independence and extended its territory to the Mississippi River. The U.S. Constitution, drafted in 1787 and ratified in 1788, established the nation's government framework, followed by the Bill of Rights to ensure citizens' freedoms. George Washington became the first U.S. president in 1789. Post-independence, the United States expanded rapidly. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased the Louisiana Territory from France, doubling the nation's size and prompting the Lewis and Clark expedition to explore the new lands. The War of 1812 with Britain, though inconclusive, saw the British burn the White House. Under the guise of manifest destiny, the U.S. expanded westward, annexing Texas and acquiring vast territories after the Mexican-American War. The discovery of gold in California in 1848 triggered a massive migration, propelling California to statehood. However, tensions over slavery deepened, dividing the nation. Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860 prompted Southern states to secede, sparking the Civil War. The Union, with its industrial strength and larger population, ultimately prevailed. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation and the Union's victory ended slavery, though Lincoln was assassinated shortly after the war's conclusion. In the following decades, the U.S. industrialized rapidly, built infrastructure like the Transcontinental Railroad, and expanded its influence overseas. By the late 19th century, conflicts such as the Spanish-American War brought new territories under U.S. control, including Puerto Rico and the Philippines. The 20th century saw the U.S. emerge as a global power through involvement in two world wars, technological advancements, and the space race. Landmark events such as the Civil Rights Movement of the 1960s and the moon landing in 1969 shaped the nation's identity. In the 21st century, the U.S. faced new challenges, including the September 11th attacks in 2001, which transformed its approach to global security and warfare. Despite its successes, including being a leader in technology, science, and the global economy, the nation continues to grapple with internal and external challenges, striving to reconcile its complex history with its vision for the future.